So you are all being recorded. Well, welcome everybody. How's everyone doing? Surviving summer?
Wonderful. Praise the Lord.
We'll kind of chit chat a bit, give everyone else more time for anyone else to join. Does anybody have any pressing questions that they want to start with? I actually have a topic today. We're going to talk about email lists, not how to build them, but how to increase the traffic back to your blog via your email list. So you have to actually have an email list for this to work, but some tips for engaging with your readers and all of that. So, but first I want to make sure if anyone has any specific questions about anything that I can answer that before we jump into that other thing. So anybody? Going once? Going twice? Okay. And as I start talking about this other thing, if you have questions, you can either just like interrupt me or put it over in the chat. Somebody just messaged me. Okay. And then I will pause to answer whatever that question is. So, okay. So let's talk about email. And I do apologize. I've been out in the garden all morning and then my husband mowed the yard. So my allergies are like in overdrive right now. So email list. Why do we have an email list? Let's talk about that first. So there's, I guess, 3 primary reasons to actually have an email list. Number 1 is that's where you really connect with your readers, right? Like your blog posts are not meant to really, that's not where you're pouring out your heart to them. Your blog content is what I call bait. I'm a fishing person, so I use analogies that make sense to me in fishing and gardening terms. But the blog posts, when you write them, are not meant for right now, like today. Yeah, some people will see it if they're on your Facebook page and they see it the day you publish it. But generally speaking, what you write in a blog post is meant for at least 4 to 6 weeks from now, because that's about how long it will take for a site that has really good SEO for that piece of content to be indexed. Why is that important? Once it's indexed, then people can find it because they're looking for it. So if you had a post that was like Bible verses about spring or how to use a prayer journal, somebody goes to Google and they type that in, you want yours to come up on page 1. That's how they get to you, right? So we're not talking about social media sharing. We're not talking about Pinterest. We're literally talking about organic searching. People find you because they go looking for you. That's what a blog post does. Your email, on the other hand, is where you really begin to speak to them more personally, more intimately, more whatever the topic was of the post, in a more like direct way. I always say it's like having coffee with the person. And so many of us write about things that could be searched in a, Bible study, let's just use that. And so if you're trying to reach, say, you're trying to help young or new moms find more time to spend in the Word, or you're helping women spend more or grow closer to God, or maybe just people in general, like you have a very specific target audience. But when they search the query, really any of those people could be searching for it. So why do they end up following you? And so how you write the content is what entices them to want to join you over the other person, because you're speaking to them as the new mom, or them as the older woman, or them as the divorced woman, or, general Bible study, or to men or to dads or whomever you are really trying to reach. That ministering part where you're really, like I always say, there's what we want to share with people and what they're looking for, right? We have to focus on what they're looking for because that's how they find us. When they find us, then we can sit down and have coffee and truly minister to them, which was originally why we started blogging to begin with. And so those emails, the main point of that is for that direct communication, providing them more resources for whatever your purpose is, really speaking to them on a personal level, getting to know them, becoming friends, if you will, right? So that's your primary reason. equally important, and I would say depending on your long-term goals for your blog, this could be actually number one, and the nurturing could be number two, however you want to look at it. They're kind of equally important. But the second reason that we have an email list is to get more people to our blog posts, right? So if I join your email list, I'm joining it in hopes that you'll send me the blog post, right? A lot of people join a list to get new posts delivered to your inbox weekly kind of thing, right? They're not coming to your blog and hanging out every Monday saying, ooh, what did she posted today? I mean, some people might, but they don't, right? People just don't have time for that. This isn't like a concert that you camp out for 3 days on the sidewalk trying to get tickets, right? We don't like to think that's what our sites are, but that's just not how it works. So for those who have goals of monetizing at some point and you want to apply for ad revenue, ad networks like Mediavine or something like that, the sessions to your blog matter, because to apply for those programs, your blog must get a set, like for Mediavine, for example, you have to have 50,000 monthly sessions. That's not people, that's visits. So like I'm one person, but I might come back and visit a blog post 10 times this month. Like if I'm on your email and you send it out. So every time you send an email, I visit your blog, or maybe you send out some cool resource, I visit your blog. Every time I visit, that's a new session. And so 50,000 sessions really isn't a lot. I mean, it is probably in your minds now, but it's really not when you lay down your framework and your groundwork and everything. And so there are ways aside from organic search. Of course, we use Pinterest, we share our content on Facebook, but you're building this email list. At some point, you're going to have to pay for it, right? The more subscribers you get, then like I'm with Convertkit. So I had to pay $29 a month for my first 1,000. Once I hit 1,000, it went up to $49 a month. Well, if you're paying for it, anything that we do, even in life, if we're going to pay for something, it should have some value. Like we should get something back, the return on the investment, so to speak. And so utilizing your email list to get traffic to your blog is very important. And so that is actually what I want to talk about. But the third thing, just because I said there was 3 things, the third reason people have an email list is also to increase income via like affiliate marketing and selling their products, right? You're selling them to your audience. And so I put that as a third thing because I hate emails when all they ever send me is, hey, you need to buy this. Here's my newest thing. Buy it, buy it, buy it. And they never actually say hello, right? I don't need people sending me that kind of stuff. I mean, occasionally, yeah, but I want more conversation from you, right? So let's go back to number 2, how to get more traffic to your blog via your email list. Well, of course, you got to have some traffic to actually get the people on your email list. So we're not talking about that. That's a whole SEO training. But once you do start building your email list, you should have a plan, right? And that's one thing. Let me back up. You should really not start building your email list until you actually have a plan and know what you're doing with your blog, right? Because an email list, to nurture it and really have it to be effective, well, you need a plan. Everything that we endeavor upon, we should have a plan for it, a blueprint, not just, oh, it's Monday, what should I do today, right? That's why we never lose weight. That's why we never get super buff and fit at the gym, because we just kind of willy-nilly are, right? Mm-hmm. So your email list, just like your blog, you need to have a plan. So some really good tips once you do start working on building it and you actually have subscribers, or if you already have subscribers, and that's fine too. So here's some things. Number 1, create a plan. And I'm going to show you, when I say a plan, just like you should have a blog content plan for the year, like you should really know what posts you're going to publish every week this year. Like today, you should have all 52 posts planned out, like the topics of them, right? If you don't, you should maybe work on that. Let me pull up this spreadsheet 1 second. Your email list, you should have a plan for that. That way you don't wake up Monday morning and be like, ooh, what should I send my readers today? That's the number 1 struggle. Well, the number 1 struggle is how to get people to join my email list. But once you have them, the number 1 struggle is, what do I send them? I don't even know what to say to them every week. Okay, well then why did you call them over? we don't call a group meeting and then not have an agenda of what to do, right? And that's kind of what you just did. So you can make a simple spreadsheet. I actually have 2 email segments. I have my blogging tips and my faith. So the faith one, so you just do, your January through whatever. I did half the year. And so you can go through and just plug in. Okay, so you can relate some things to seasonal stuff. So like if you're in March, you're probably going to talk a little bit about Easter, the resurrection, something along those lines, depending what kind of blogger you are. If you're an all-day Bible study, or if you're like a parenting blogger who has faith content, whatever, you tailor it to your person. But go ahead and put in some topics, right? Just plan out those ideas. Then go match that idea to a blog post, older post. It doesn't have to be the post that you published this week, right? Map it out. All that older content that you published like a year ago that's not getting any traffic at all, repurpose it. Send it out, because the people who are on your email list today probably weren't on your email list when you first published it, right? And I know some people have been at this for a couple of years. So you have quite a bit of content that's just sitting there not doing anything. Recycle that content, but map it out. Don't just wing it. Like put it on paper and say, I'm actually, some of these months have a 5th week, but here's the topics, and here's the one blog post I'm going to send out this week. And it doesn't have to be, so like for me, I have a post on my site called On Fire for Jesus. And so my subject line, I was like dropping Jesus like it's hot, right? You don't make your subject lines boring, because then nobody will open them, right? Sometimes you got to play with your subject line, because we get so much email. You need something that's going to make people say, what on earth is she saying this week, right? And then they click it and then they read it. It's okay to be funny. It's okay to maybe, I guess the word is clickbait, maybe a controversial line, when in actuality, what you're writing is not what they think it is. It's actually something good. The whole point of this is to get them to click and open it, and then you pour into them. Whatever. So here's mine, right? I still need to, everything in green's already been sent out. So I now need to sit down and do the second half of the year. Map it out. Utilize all those older blog posts. And maybe if it's seasonal stuff that you plan to write this year, go ahead. If you want to send out a new post as well, plug it into one of those weeks. But don't negate that older content that's just sitting there. Repurpose it, sending out, because you get new people on your list all the time. Number 2, let me open my email. Create a standard, I guess, template, if that's what you want to call it, that your email looks like. Like just create it. If you're a MailerLite or Convertkit or whatever, create one email and make it like, I guess like a newsletter, if you will. And then when you write next week's email, just duplicate that one so the form is already there, the organization of it. Then all you have to do is go in and change that week's part. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. If y'all get my emails, my faith one, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this was the one that I think went out this week. So it's a standard. It's not just a bunch of words, right? Like break stuff up, short little paragraphs. Don't make one long paragraph. That's really bad for our eyes, especially if we're reading it on a mobile device. Break it up with some pictures and see how I have sections. So this is my new. I also have a weekly devotional post that goes out on Wednesdays. My faith email goes out on Fridays. So I also include, hey, if you missed Wednesday's devotional, here it is again. Because if they click this, that's them visiting my site. If they click this, that's them visiting my site, right? Sessions. The whole goal is to get them to read the blog post, right? So every week, this section changes. All I have to do is come in here into the editor and change out whatever this week's post is going to be. I actually have been testing some things. Normally I have a section right above this. It's more of just me personal, talking about my garden or my squirrels or whatever, right? Be personable. I was A/B testing, so that's why this one doesn't have it. But be personable. You're wanting to get to know them. Talk a little bit about whatever you're dealing with this week. And that leads us into this week's topic of whatever, right? Now okay, so number 1 was have a plan. Number 2, create a standard template for your weekly emails. Number 3, in addition to the blog post, don't send like 5 links to blog posts and say, here is this week's blog post, right? Just send them one, right? Send them one. That's the one you want them to read. But you create additional sections in your template. If you have whatever your purpose is, so mine is Bible study. If yours is prayer, if yours is parenting, if you're whatever yours is, create a section. It could be called our most popular content. Jessie from Pray with Confidence, she actually did that with hers this week. She didn't do resources. She took her top 5 organic posts, which are her most popular content, and she created a section in there. She got, I think she said 16 clicks to that section in this week's email, which she didn't have it before. So that's 16 extra clicks to her site this week, just in that section. So you can do that. You can, so mine actually has a mixture of content on my site plus affiliate links. So if you are doing affiliate marketing, this is a way to get those affiliate links in every email without the email being about affiliate links, right? It's just a section. Hey, I'm a Bible study blogger, so I have some free resources here. These are just posts on my site. I'm actually going to add some more in here. I have like Bible verse coloring pages. I have scriptures you can share on social media. I have a whole bunch of resource pages. They're free. They're on the site. Just go to the page and download whatever you want. So put that section in here, right? Because every new person that joins your list will see it for the first time. Every single week, this section here gets clicks on it on top of the clicks to this week's post. Again, more clicks back to your site without making the email about this thing. It's just a section of resources for people to browse if they wanted to. And of course, mine includes also some affiliate things because I'm a Bible study blogger. I have some Bible studies, some prayer journals and things from from the membership, some people in my KB team and some other bloggers. But just make this a permanent section. You don't even have to change it. Just every week, recycle this page, change the top, and you will get clicks to this, right? So the goal being more clicks to my website. If you want more clicks from your email, put more stuff for them to click on, but put it in a passive, not in your face kind of way. I make sales from this section, at least 1 to 2 sales every single week when I send this email out. But the email is not about, hey, you need to buy this thing. That's not what the email is about. The email is about this, but this is like standing in the checkout aisle at the grocery store, sort of, right? It's there. They might want to browse it. And so it increases, again, affiliate opportunities if you are an affiliate or you sell your own products, right? By the way, if you sell your own products and you include them in here in that section, right? The post is not about, I'm sorry, the email is not about sending them a marketing email. The email is about whatever the blog post is. But you have this section there. Give them a humongous discount, 50% or more. Whatever your product is, I don't care how much effort you put into it and think it's worth, give them a 50% discount to encourage them to buy it. Because then buying it at 50% is much better than they never bought it. Right? Does everybody agree with that? Who doesn't like a good 50% off of something, right? If it was $10, you can get it for $5, you're probably going to buy it even though you don't need it because we can't resist the discounts. And you're rewarding your readers by doing that, right? You see several of these have half off. These are from other bloggers that gave me a discount so theirs could be included in my little section, right? Okay, so have a plan, create a formatted template, recycle that every week, 1 blog post. And again, if you do multiple emails, like we do a weekly devotional on top of so I just put a link to that devotional in here. Have your resource section, have your affiliate section. So that's your weekly email. Any questions about that? Number two, well, I mean, this was number one, but it had 4 things in it. So that was like number one, those were A, B, C, D. So now we're going on to a second type of email that you send out, and that is your welcome sequence. So when they first join your email, they subscribe to your email list, you should have a welcome sequence. It shouldn't just be, thanks for joining. I'll see you when I see you next week, right? You want to get to know them. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the Kingdom Bloggers community. We are here to provide all the Bible study resources. That's not actually what mine says, but you kind of get my point, right? It can be one email. It can be a series. Don't make it like a book, maybe 2 or 3 emails, like one day apart. That's because people sign up for stuff. And if you don't hear from, if they don't hear from you for like a week, they may forget that they even signed up. But if you're just like right away, they send you something, they're going to remember it. Here's the thing. Put links in those emails, right? Don't just introduce who I am and whatever, right? Thanks for joining. Give them a free thing. Give them something free that relates to your site. Give them a free Bible study reading plan. You should have pages on your site that are freebie resource pages, just cool stuff that people can just download. They don't even have to subscribe. It's just in the post. You can also create resource pages specifically for your subscribers. And if you do that, you should continually add stuff to it to make it worth their while. Like I said, on my site, I have Bible verse coloring pages. I have Instagram images with scripture that they can share on social media. I have screensavers with Bible verses. I have a collection of free printable Bible study worksheet type things. Those are all pages on my site. But if nobody found them organically, this is a way for me to direct my people, because they're here because of Bible study. That's how they came to find my site. Then they join my email list. So let me continue to offer them things. So in that first, the welcome sequence, whether it's one email or a couple of emails, put a link in each of those to something on your site that is beneficial. Maybe it's not a resource page. Maybe your site is like about prayer, right? It's all about prayer. Your first could be, if you're just getting started with prayer or whatever, or maybe you've never prayed before, here's a really great tutorial on how to pray for the first time or something, right? That's a link on your blog post. And then the next one goes out, here's some prayer resources, some prayer trackers, some, whatever, a simple prayer journal that you can download for free, link them over to where you have that on your site. Maybe you have some devotional type content. Maybe your site is for moms. So send them a link to those devotionals. Again, that's older content that you can continue to recycle via your email list, first through that welcome sequence, and then again through your weekly emails. Welcome email. Okay, so that was number 2. So number 1 was your weekly emails, all about that. Number 2 was the welcome sequence. Number 3 is utilizing some of that older content, and this won't work for everybody. It just depends on how you write. But some of that older stuff, if it was written in like devotional nature, maybe you have like, I don't know, a 5-day gratitude series that you wrote back in November one year, right? It's not getting any SEO traffic, but each post is really good and it's about gratitude, and there's 5 of them. Maybe you create a 5-day email devotional series, and that's your opt-in. So they opt in to get the 5 days worth of emails. Each email links to one of those posts, right? And so people literally will sign up to get that sequence of emails from you. And you can do that with all kinds of things. I just use the gratitude one because like everybody seems to have a gratitude series on their blog. So those are 3 ways to use your email list to get more traffic to your blog. The end. No. Okay, questions, comments, feedback. Really? Y'all got nothing? I have to take a break to eat my cookie. Anything that anybody has tried, any creative things that you've done in your email that seem to get a lot of engagement? No? Everybody's emails stink. Everybody's really struggling with it. That's why nobody's opening it.
I have a question.
Sure.
I use Mailchimp for my campaigns. So would I be better creating a email template in Mailchimp or creating one in Canva? What do you suggest?
No, I would just do it in the Mailchimp, however you craft a campaign. I'm not familiar with Mailchimp. I know it's very techy, is what everybody tells me. I tried using it once and I got too confused. But wherever you go in to create a new email, create it and make it with sections. And then so like in Convertkit is what I use. I can go in and I have drafts, and then I have one that shows completed. And so I click on completed and I go find that email, and then I just hit duplicate, and then it makes it again.
Okay.
And then I go in and edit it. Yeah, that's how I duplicate them. So I just create it once and then just recycle that one over and over by duplicating it. I'm guessing you can do the same thing in Mailchimp, because you can do the same thing in MailerLite. I used to use MailerLite.
Yeah, you can do that in Mailchimp.
Yeah. Increasing engagement, that was another question. So that's not so much about getting traffic to your blog, but we had this discussion yesterday in my membership. Like increasing the open rate, getting them to open the email. A lot of that has to do with health. Sorry. Making sure you have the right people on your list so that you're writing content to your avatar. You're not doing things like, I know in our blogger groups, I see where people, hey, can we do a subscriber thread where everybody subscribes to each other? Don't do that. You want people to subscribe because they want to subscribe to you because they like what you offer. That don't have just people subscribe so you can boost your numbers, because then they're not real subscribers, right?
They're not your tribe.
Right. So if you are finding that nobody, like you have a really low open rate every week, you might reflect on how they came to join you first. What opt-ins are you offering to get them on your list? Does the opt-ins really match the overall, it's the blog, the content that brings them, the opt-ins that get them on your email list, and then what you send them every week and what you're talking about should all match, right? In some way. Like for me, I'm talking about Bible study. People came because they were looking for Bible study stuff. I offer a Bible reading plan. That's how, so it all matches, right? And so there's a lot of things that people will sign up for. And as soon as they get it, they'll unsubscribe because they're like, I don't want to hear this woman. I just want to think, right? And that's okay. But if you find that's the case more often than not, then whatever that thing was, just give it to them and think of something else that really benefits them, but also relates to the overall, like what you're talking about and what your ministry's purpose is, I guess. I get a lot of people subscribe for my reading plans, and I'd say about 20% of them unsubscribe with the first email. They just wanted the reading plan. I'm okay with that, because the remaining 80 or 90%, however many, they do stay engaged, right? You're going to have unsubscribers, but if you find that the majority of them, like your open rate every week is only like 10%, then the first thing is check on what got them to you in the first place, opt-in. The second thing, look at your subject lines. Subject lines, we get flooded with email. I have like 5 email addresses. So when I open my phone, my email app, it's like I'd be scrolling for an hour of just trash, right? But what makes me click on something, right? As I'm scrolling, I'm like, whoa, what was that, right? And that's where I was saying about subject lines. Don't make them boring. Don't necessarily put it as what the title of the blog post is, right? Jesus said, what? Right? People are going to be like, what? Right? You got to get funny. You got to get creative. You could even go as far as, not with bad words, but saying something sort of controversial that will get people like, oh no, she didn't. And then when they read it, they're like, that's not really what you meant, right? So the goal is to get them to open the email. That's the goal. And so, don't be rude. Don't say ugly things. Of course, we're nice Christian people here, but you got to get creative with those subject lines. Like, it can't just be the boring title. I mean, not that your titles are boring, but the titles are boring in an email subject line. So say something funny. Nicole says, what's a good email open rate? It really varies. I average with my blogging tips email average between 40 and 60. My faith email every week, and that's with me scrubbing my list every week, anywhere from 25 to maybe 45. So I'd say anything between 20 and 40% is about average. 20 is average, 40 is better. I don't know anybody who gets like an 80% open rate. I've never met anybody. Some of that has to do with deliverability. Some of your emails just don't get delivered, and there's nothing you can really do about that. It's all the email stuff, right? The filters. But if you're sitting at 10%, that's bad. And, think of it this way. Let's say you have, okay, so I'm in the $49 plan now. I have about 2,100 subscribers. I clean my list 3 times a week of all the people, the unsubscribes, the cold subscribers. So they haven't opened a campaign in 60 days. I send out 3 emails a week. They should have opened something in 60 days. And if they haven't, they get deleted. And also the unconfirmed. So those are people who subscribed, but they never checked their email to confirm the subscription. You will get those. Part of that is the filters. Maybe they never got it. Maybe it went to spam, whatever. And so I give them a day. And if they don't confirm, they get deleted. Every day, 3 times a week, I delete probably 300 subscribers from my list of the cold, the unconfirmed, and the canceled, right? I get unsubscribers every day. I'm not worried about it. But even with that, I still have right now, this morning was about 2,100. And so my numbers go up even though but the point of cleaning it is to ensure, so back up. The reason your open rate is low, 1, you got the wrong people on your list. Number 2, your subject lines aren't that good. But number 3 could be that say your list is 1,000 and you only have a 10% open rate. Well, maybe about 500 of them are either unconfirmed or they don't, for whatever reason, aren't getting your emails, right? That's why it's important to scrub your list at least once a month. Go in and delete all of the people who have unsubscribed. Even if they've unsubscribed, they technically count towards your subscriber number. So if you're paying, it doesn't make sense. They unsubscribe, but they're unsubscribed subscribers. So delete them. Unconfirmed, delete them. And anyone, so in Convertkit, it's 60 days. I'm not sure what it is for MailerLite or Mailchimp, but you can read your documentation. That is where the system has it, and it should have a filter for it already there. Those are people who have not opened a campaign in like I said, for me, it's 60 days. Well, if you're sending emails every week and they haven't opened in 60 days, why are you paying for them to be on your list? They're not interested. I mean, realistically, right? And so by scrubbing that, then your list maybe goes down from 1,000 to 500. And when you send out that campaign, the open rate will go up because it's a percentage of the total number, right? So your low rate could also be that you just have a lot of dead weight on your list. And so you need to clean that out. Okay, so subject lines, scrub your list of the dead weight. Okay, so now you got the perfect group of people on your list, right? So funny subject lines. Also, don't just get right to the point. Here's your thing. Here's the blog post for the week. Nobody can, talk to them. We're having coffee, right? You're trying to become friends with them, minister to them, get them to trust you, value your input or whatever. Talk about yourself. I mean, I was doing an A/B testing, so I realized people still, I got more reply emails about my squirrels and my garden than I ever got about the Jesus stuff I was sharing. Not that I never got it, but people want to feel like they know you. So share bits and pieces, right? If you're doing something, if you're moving, here I share about the crazy dinosaur-sized Texas mosquitoes, whatever. I'll even insert a picture. Like there was a picture of, so I have a bird bath and we have doves, and doves were in the little bird bath, and I said, look, it's a Dove body wash commercial, and I put a picture in there, and I got so many emails back about that, right? That's them engaging with you. So don't make it all business, I guess is what I'm saying. Don't go crazy. I'm sure you've read some emails where it's like it goes on and on and on about the baby doing whatever, and you're like, okay, can we get to the Bible study stuff now? I've heard enough about your baby. Give them a little, and it's like, okay, on to business or on to whatever, right? Give them a little. People, we always think nobody cares what I'm doing, but we really do. I mean, it's kind of sad, but we're also bored and lonely with our own lives. And especially with COVID, people want to get a glimpse into other people's lives, good or bad. If you're going through something, share it if it relates to what your ministry is about. Keep it simple, but that will increase engagement. So then you go into whatever your topics and what your point of the email this week. Calls to action. Don't say, hit the reply button and let me know what you think, right? That's really general. Ask pointed questions. Ask for feedback. I'm trying to, I could really use your help. That could just be the email itself, right? I'm working on this or that, and I'd really love to know how I can make it, or, how you deal with this. What are your struggles in it? That's a good way to get feedback for you to create products, to create content, knowing what they need. People love to help, right? When you ask a general, so what's your biggest struggle in studying the Bible? You'll get crickets. But if you're like, do you find it hard? Do you get distracted often? Do you have a problem? Do you have trouble understanding like what the Bible's even saying because it feels like it was written by Hamlet, right? Like, be specific in those questions. Hey, let me know. Just hit the reply button and tell me what you've struggled with this, or tell them your own story and then say, have you ever dealt with this too? I'd love to hear how you figured it out, right? That's how you get them to reply back. Don't just say, hit the reply button and let me know what you think. Like, that's too general. People don't want to answer general, but when you hit like specific pain points, so to speak, they're more likely to respond back to you. If you're doing social media, if you're active on social media, like Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and let's say you had a really good thread going on where you asked a question and people were engaging in the conversation. So you might not say, hit the reply button and let me know. You might say, join the conversation and insert the link to that post on Facebook. So when they click it, it opens up that Facebook thread and they can get in the conversation there. That's really good for like if you're doing Bible study kind of stuff and you want everybody to talk about it. So getting the engagement is about just putting the right questions there, not hit reply and let me know. That's just so, click here. Like that does nothing for people. But when you ask for help, ask for their opinions, ask for their input, especially when you share a struggle that you are currently dealing with and ask how they've dealt with it. Oh my gosh, you better set an hour or two aside on Friday to be able to sit down and respond to those emails, because once they start responding, then you need to continue the conversation, right? I get some funny emails sometimes, but I send funny stuff too. So it's all about the connection, really. So don't, again, like, I guess the biggest thing is don't make it all business. Make it personal, just as though you're sitting down having coffee with a new friend.
That sounds good. Right now, Leanne, I'm really concentrating on traffic, content.
Yes.
So what point should I start doing emails?
For you, where you're at right now, I would say give it at least until Christmas. Maybe make that your plan to start on your January to-do list. We talked about the conversions planner this week. I would not, for you, even worry about that until you get that content, because again, you need to be writing the content, and that's where most of your time needs to be going. And it's, well, one, you don't have any organic traffic anyway, so there's not going to be anybody there to sign up. So don't put the effort into creating stuff in which there's no customers coming yet, right? It's like if you put out, I don't know, what's something that people only do certain times of the year? If you put it out at the wrong month, nobody's going to buy it, right?
Mhm.
You don't have the people there yet, so don't put the effort into. It's not one of those, if you build it, they will come. Don't think of it in that first year. Get your content. Then during that fourth quarter, you can see of your content that's starting to get organic traffic, that's starting to rank. What is it? Utilize that information to determine what you should create as an opt-in.
Well, I'm not in a rush to do the emails, but I just wanted to know.
Yeah, I would say specifically where you're at right now, I would say maybe put that on your to-do list for 22. Starting in January, start working on your list building.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike says being personal gets lots of clicks. Yep, people love personal.
Mhm.
I mean, even if you told a funny Jesus joke, if you're a Bible study blogger, people love. Like I was actually researching funny Christian jokes, right? Where it takes scripture, the whole, how do we know men are supposed to make coffee? It's in the Bible, Hebrews, right? Just something silly like that. My pastor said that at church Sunday. Funny things, right? People like funny, and people respond more to funny than, not that we don't have the sad stuff and you want to be serious, but you got to kind of mix it up to get them out of that sad state. Like throw that, but it's okay. Not all, like, I know when I was growing up, I was like, man, I don't want to be a Christian because they're just all sad and angry all the time, right? Like, show people that it's fun being a part of this family and we have a sense of humor. We're not just crazy, cranky, God squad ladies. Like, be funny and let them know it's okay to be funny. Hey, Kristen.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Got some downtime. This is kind of like my work day. And so.
Good deal. So we've been talking about email. So there's like before you joined, a whole conversation about tips for improving, one, getting more clicks back to your site from your email list, and then just tips for building engagement and how to format your emails and stuff like that. So definitely something to watch the replay.
Oh yeah, that's good.
All right, what else y'all got? And try different things. Don't just set it and forget it. Like, from time to time, switch it up a little bit and see if this new way works. A/B testing of subject lines. I did that for a while. Really, I didn't see the point in that because the time of day that it sends out isn't always reflective of your audience's habits. But changing up the format, like that was a thing too. You saw in mine where it had a little blurb, which literally I just copied 1 or 2 paragraphs from that blog post. And instead of click here to read this week's blog post, we know click here is like the worst thing ever to say.
Right.
Put a button. When I changed it from literally the title of the post as link text, and I put a button in it, I got more clicks with that button than I did with the link text. So just try different approaches, different word usage, try different things. And when I say try, don't try something new every week. Like, try something, give it a month. If you're emailing every week, kind of look back and see how it went. Also, if you are on the paid version of MailerLite, I don't know about Mailchimp, but the paid version of MailerLite, or you're with Convertkit, because, I guess there is a free version now, but the paid version of Convertkit, you have the resend to unopened option. Utilize that. So I send my email, my faith email goes out on Friday mornings, and then I have it resend to anyone who didn't open it the first time. So only the unopens get it, not the ones who actually open, they don't get it again. And that goes out on Sunday. So my first one that goes out on Friday, maybe we'll get 20 to 30% open rate. With the second, the resend, it gets an additional 10 to 15. Again, those are more clicks to your website. And if we were talking about ads, so if you're putting like Mediavine, that's more sessions, and that's the goal, right? Mm-hmm. So having that resend to unopened is a very, very useful tool but don't send it like the very next day. Like, should have a cup. I was doing my faith emails on Monday, and after a while I realized that was the lowest engagement day. I guess it's Monday. I was thinking Monday, beginning of the week, but they weren't opening it. But when I would send it on Friday, they would open it. So that's where I switched it to Friday with a Sunday reopen, because everyone's home on Sunday getting ready for church, right? Reading their YouVersion Bible app. So they're on their phone. At least that's what I was thinking. And that seemed to be a better, I got more from that schedule than I did from the Monday. So as far as changing it up, try different days of the week as well. Don't just, well, it's Monday, that's the day I send it. Well, it's not about you, it's about the people. So try out. Also, you can look in the history of your campaigns, and you can go into each one. At least you can with Convertkit. I'm pretty sure with MailerLite, because I used to do it in MailerLite. And look at about the times they're being opened. Now, if you have a lot of subscribers, you just kind of look and see what the average time of day that people are opening it, and maybe readjust your send to coincide with that estimate, because if you're in your email mode and a new one pops in, you're going to read it right there. But if you're like me and you wait till the end of the day to actually sit down and read all the emails from the day, people may not actually read them all. So there's different things you can dive into your analytics from your email service to gather what day of the week and what time of day are my openers most opening, most active, and then readjust your send schedule to kind of coincide with whatever that average is.
Yeah, that's good. I've recently switched to Convertkit. And I still have Flowdesk, so I'm kind of using both at the moment. But for Convertkit, I'm still kind of getting used to it, and it's a little bit more confusing in some ways. But do you have any sequences that go out automatically, or do you just do broadcast emails?
So I have my welcome sequence. Yeah, going from one other platform into Convertkit, they call it, everything is called something else. The name. Once you get used to it though, because I used to use MailerLite, Convertkit is so much better. You got to get over that learning curve. But yeah, I have my welcome sequences. I have several automations. So like I have different downloads that are opt-ins, and they all go into the same funnel, but they get the thing, and then it's and then I add a tags. I can go get with you one day if you want, and I can go through all of mine just to show you how they're laid out, to give you a kind of bird's eye view of them, so they make more sense. Yeah. And then my regular weekly things, I usually sit down on Sunday and write out whatever they are, and then just schedule them out so they go. And then Saturdays, when I get up to get my coffee, that's when I go in and do the reschedule to unopens. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great, because I'm still trying to figure out, like, I have a sequence that goes out, but then you don't want to send the regular broadcast emails to those who are in the sequence. And so it's kind of confusing.
It's really easy to set up that flow. It's really easy. Yeah, just let me know when you want to get together, and it'll take like 20-30 minutes tops to go through all of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks.
Also with Convertkit, and I don't know how Flowdesk was. So MailerLite has the Google Analytics UTM tracking code already in it. So in your Google Analytics, you can see if you're with Mailer. I don't know about Mailchimp, but with MailerLite, it'll say referral MailerLite. Convertkit doesn't have that, which is kind of crazy that they don't. But you can create a UTM tracking code. It's really simple. And so I have a draft post that's just a draft all the time. And so anytime you put a link like to the blog post, you just add that little piece of code to the end of the link. And then all the clicks back to your site that originated from your email, you can see how many of them are actually coming. Otherwise, they're going to get counted under direct traffic in Google.
Yeah, that's what all of my emails right now, it's all direct. And I know when I send an email and I get tons of direct, I know it's because I sent an email, but I don't know which emails or which direct email or which direct traffic came from the email.
Yeah. I have a Loom video, I think somewhere. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. I have to find it, where I show you how to create the UTM tracking code and then how exactly to utilize it. It's super simple. It's an extra step, but it's super simple. And once you have it, then you're just like, okay, gotta add the code. And then from that point, you'll notice your direct traffic go down, but then you'll have a new referral source, which is whatever you create the name for it. Mine just says newsletter.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah. All right. Okay, what else? Any other questions about email? Giving freebies, creating stuff for your list. Like, I mean, who doesn't love free stuff, right? So if you create things, if you create new freebie opt-ins to put on your site, make sure you send a copy of it to the ones who are already on your list. Don't make them opt in again for it. That could just be something that you add to an email. I just created this new thing. Don't say I created as a new opt-in. Just, hey, I created this new prayer journal template or this new Bible, whatever. And then just send them a copy of it, right? They've already opted in. They're already on your list. But make it a habit to regularly give them stuff. It should relate to your blog's, your ministry's purpose. If it's about prayer, if it's about Bible study, if it's about parenting, whatever it is, but make it, even it could be something as simple as some Bible verse coloring pages. But people enjoy and appreciate free stuff. And when they know you tend to regularly send free stuff, that also increases them opening. You're like, I don't know what that subject line is, but she might have some free stuff in there, so I'm going to open it, right? And so the more you give free things, the more they look forward to your emails and are more likely to open them. But it needs to be stuff that's beneficial. Don't just like create random stuff.
Leanne, are there statistically best days to send campaigns?
You know, I'm sure there are reports, but it's also, it's not a one size fits all. Like every audience is different. I mean, if your audience is stay-at-home moms, well, they're home every day, right? If your audience is working moms, well, they're not home every day. So their day of opening might be different. So it's really going to be you looking into your analytics to kind of gauge, like, and that's why I say try it different times and kind of get an idea of which ones. I would say overall, Mondays are probably the worst in all the blogging I've done and different niches I've done. Monday seems to be the worst, which kind of makes sense because Mondays are the worst, right? And so midweek, I've even tried doing it from, instead of in the morning before they go to work, to doing it around 4 or 5 p.m. because they're getting home and checking their emails for the day. But it's all going to be dependent upon your particular audience and their habits. So that's not really an answer that's like a one answer. It's going to be different for everyone, except for I've never heard of Mondays being great for anybody.
Do you answer all of your emails at, in one day, a certain time?
I check my email every day. And if there's emails, I sit and respond to them. That's why I try to get to my computer. Like I was running back behind this morning when you messaged me, because, and really, some people, it's more important than others, depending on what your ministry is about in serving them. Mine's not usually that detrimental. It's not like I'm asking for prayer requests or anything where they really need it now, but it's just polite. If they've got to wait 5 days to hear from you, that's just not cool. Like you build a better relationship with them when they feel that so I would say within 24 hours. So I check my email first thing in the morning. That's my morning routine. Drink my coffee after my outside routine is done. And I respond to any emails that I have. Now on the weekends, I don't have an official policy. I tend to not respond to things on the weekends. So I will check it Friday evening before I get off. And then I'll probably check it again on Sunday because I'm kind of getting ready for the week. But yeah, I would say you should check it daily, but whatever time you check it, make sure that the time that you're not in a rush to do something else. Because once you get in there, if there's 10 emails, you need to be prepared to sit there to respond to 10 emails. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do it daily, except on the weekends.
Yeah, what I've learned to do is, like, sometimes I can't respond right away. And so I'll like star them so that I know to go back to them like the next day, or have a set time, like an hour where I can respond. Because if I'm checking my email and I'm in the middle of something else and like, oh, I really want to respond to this person. Because yeah, like you said, some people really pour their hearts out. And I do ask like, hey, do you have any prayer requests? And a lot of people respond to that. And so I really want to make sure that I do answer each person. And when I hit that star, I can go easily to see which ones I need to respond to.
That's good. Okay, bye, Maribeth. It was good to see you today. Have a great weekend. Yeah, it's just, it's good form. It's good. It's, what's the word? It's just polite, especially like you said, when they're pouring their heart out to you and then you're like 7 days later, oh, sorry, it took me so long to get back to you. Then they don't feel as though you really value their time and they may not engage with you as much anymore. And again, that all comes back to what I always say about don't start your email until you know you're going to have the time, because it's like opening Pandora's box. Like once you really start reaching your person, that's a whole nother chunk of time that you have to add into your schedule or take away from something else so that you can truly nurture it. I mean, and people don't think about that a lot of times. They're like, oh, I got email subscribers. Oh my gosh, they're all writing me now. Like I haven't been able to write any blog posts this week because I've been responding to emails. So it's one of those be careful what you wish for kind of things. But emails are the best. Like just knowing that, you're just sitting here in your house, wherever you live, and people on like the other side of the world are like connecting with you. It's really, I don't know, for me, that's just like the coolest thing. So
yes, it is.
Impacting people in such a huge way, in such a simple way. Yeah.
That lets you know as well that people are really thinking about you as well.
Yeah. And when you, the more you connect with them, then when you might be dealing with something, maybe you have a sick child, or like I was having surgery. I had to have an ovary removed. This is before COVID, like 2 years ago. And so you let people, hey, I probably won't have an email next week, or hey, I'm going to be having surgery. And then you get flooded with all these like people sending their prayers for you, just knowing like it's like this worldwide prayer chain for you while you're in surgery. So it's definitely, it goes both ways. It's not all about you pouring into them. If you allow them to get to know you, then it comes back to you as well. And that's just like the coolest thing. I'm like, man, I got people in Africa praying for me this week. I have got this, like it's just really cool.
Yes.
Okay, let me close these windows here. All right, let me see. What else? Email. Subject lines, we talked about those. Cute, crafty subject lines. Asking questions in subject lines. I have a whole list of subject lines that you'll be getting that next week, Joyce, in the last week of the boot camp. Some are funny. Also think of some things outside your norm, like, for Bible study bloggers, people like the trivia stuff, like Bible trivia, fun Bible trivia, just things. And that stuff is really good for social media too. I'm not the social media guru, but, kind of getting beyond the normal, boring way of Bible study, presenting it in a more creative kind of way. And those trivia questions, fun trivia questions. There was actually some funny trivia questions, kind of like the Hebrews kind of thing. People enjoy that. And then they remember it more, because when something's funny, we tend to remember it, but when it's boring, we don't remember it. And so that's a fun way to encourage your readers to retain the information that you're sharing with them as well. So, all right, let me see.
I have a quick question. It's not email related. Is that
that's
okay?
fine. Yeah.
Okay. I have been with Bluehost, and it's going to renew sometime in July. And so I'm wondering if I need to switch to a different host. And I'm just wondering what you recommend. I know you used SiteGround for a while, but what is it that you're currently using? And how did you transition? Because I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I would say if you're about to expire with Bluehost, definitely switch. One, because I don't like Bluehost. They have problems. But two, it'll be cheaper because when you got with Bluehost, the price you got, when you renew, it's full price. Same with almost all the phones. So with
I've renewed. I'm paying full price now.
Yeah.
And I upgraded to their pro version. So it's pretty expensive. And I just want to know what other options are out there.
So SiteGround is great. I am actually with Big Scoots now, but not because of anything about SiteGround. It's just my site's getting 100,000 sessions a month. And so the server capacity, even though there's the Go Geek plan with SiteGround, which is the higher level. I talked to a lot of different people that were on the Go Geek, and just their site starting to slow down the more traffic they got. And so since I'm at 100K monthly, Big Scoots seemed to be a better option for my site at that point. So it wasn't anything about SiteGround. I love SiteGround. It just, my site had a capacity now, which is a great thing.
Yeah, that is great. And I'm wondering if that's what I also need to do, because I'm at like 80 to 90,000 sessions.
Okay, yeah.
And I used to get over 100,000 when Pinterest was really successful. And then I lost a lot of Pinterest traffic. So now I'm like averaging 80 to 90,000.
Yeah, I like Big Scoots. They're very fast. That my site speed was improved simply by moving over to them from SiteGround. Again, not because SiteGround is slow for anyone listening to this. It's just the server capacity for that amount of traffic.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, do you think I should switch to Big Scoots? Because I've heard that was good for when you get more traffic, and I'm planning on growing, because my traffic is growing. It's just slower because
if you're at 80K, then yes, I would say Big Scoots over SiteGround.
Okay.
Simply for speed. It's going to be a better server.
Better server. And then as far as like, how do you like,
actually it was
how do you like
easy.
Switch it over?
So if you sign up with Big Scoots, they you just put a migration request in and they do it. They take care of everything. It takes like 24 hours and then they're like, okay, you're with us now.
Okay.
Like, so you don't have to do anything. Yeah.
So when when it takes that 24 hours, is your site down for that?
No. It's
okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you switched from AT&T to Sprint, your phone still works. It's just they point the whatever to the new location to say, okay, I own you now. Yeah. There was no hiccup, no bump in traffic. My media vine, I didn't see any blips from that. Yeah. It takes them that long to redirect the DNS servers. But yeah, they did the whole thing. It was way easier to migrate to them than it was when I went from Bluehost to SiteGround. It was like, they did everything. I was like, wow, it is I think I pay like $34 a month.
Okay. Yeah. That's the plan you're on. Cause I've gone to their website to look to see which one. And I think,
let me see. I actually pay more because I have a second website on it now. So if you add additional websites, because I'm building niche sites, I'm creating new sites that are niche sites, not blogs. Let's see, shared, I think is what I have. It's $10 a month extra for each additional domain.
Okay.
What am I on? No, that's not it. WordPress. Yeah, I'm on the starter.
Yeah. That was what I was looking at and was wondering, is that the better route to go than SiteGround?
If you're at 80K, then I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm an affiliate for SiteGround. I'm not an affiliate for Big Scoot. So that's telling you, like, I was saying, for you being at that level of traffic and to be able to grow from there, and the server capacity to make sure it's still fast and everything, I would say this would be the better option for you. Not for everybody else, but anyone who's at 80K or higher, then I would say, because if you go to SiteGround and then in 2 months you're at 100K, you'd want to move anyway, right?
Mhm.
And SiteGround is just real, even their Go Geek plan, it's just not fast enough for a site that's receiving that much traffic.
Okay, that's good. And then I do have another domain, because with Bluehost, you could add as many domains as you wanted. And I think you only pay like $17 for the year or something like that. Do you, if I were to migrate my other domain, I don't even use it, but I just,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like
would that, if I switched that over to Big Scoots, would I pay $10 a month for that one? Probably.
so you're talking about just the domain. It's not a live site.
Oh, it is a site.
Oh, so the site is live and it's running. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you would have your main site. So.
And then my husband is also going to start a site, and I'm wondering, should he just start it with under mine? I mean, Garments of Splendor is the main site, and then I have a homeschool website that I use kind of just with our family stuff. But then he's going to also start a website, and I'm wondering, should he just do it himself, do it under mine instead of getting another host himself?
Yeah. So I did mine. So Bloggers for the Kingdom is my site. That's what the hope that I got it under. And then I just added this new one. And so this, my domain hosting, like where you buy the domain, is actually still with SiteGround. So SiteGround is still who I pay to renew the domain every year, but it's hosted on Big Scoot. So they just add for each additional website that you want on the plan, it's $10 extra a month for each site. So
Okay.
it's a $34.95. So now I'm at $44.95 a month. And then if I add another site, it'd be an additional $10. Now, this one, it's 250 average monthly sessions. And once you reach that, then, and I think that's of all the sites on the domain, not just one particular blog. So if the other ones start really taking off, then that would be, they would probably tell you you probably need to upgrade to the next level. But it still should just be $10 a month for each additional one that you add to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And like I said, it was super easy, like so much easier. Not that it was hard with the Bluehost to SiteGround, but literally you just put a migration request in and it's free. And they send you an email and say, okay, it's done. Go check out your site. And you're like, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, so like in your dashboard and everything, it's all Big Scoots now instead of.
Yeah, so I still have SiteGround because I have my domains. I buy my domains there.
Oh, okay.
But then to work my, bloggersforthekingdom.com/WP-admin, that's how that's how I don't go through Big Scoots to get to my site. I just go straight to it. But if I have, like, I check my email, just like you would log into your cPanel in Bluehost to check your domain email, it's in here, the same thing. And they will redirect your email as well.
Okay, because I've never used the cPanel email for anything.
Okay.
I have it connected to my Gmail.
Okay, yeah. So if you don't have that, then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. But yeah, it was super easy. They gave you really great instructions to go in and change your passwords, because you have to give them a password so they can do it all well, for me, it was in SiteGround. So you'll have to give them a user account in Bluehost, like create a password for them so they can get in and redo the DNS servers. And then once this is set up, then you just go in and change your password. But they give you really good instructions for that. It's like super, super easy.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I knew I've needed to do this for a while, but anytime you do something new and you aren't sure, you just kind of maybe procrastinate a little bit, or you're just not sure how that process is going to work. So
no, it was super. So you just go over to Big Scoots, sign up for that one, the one under WordPress, the starter. And then you put in all the details. It'll ask you some questions about where you're at, and it'll tell you to create or give them your login credentials. It'll go through all that, and you put all that in a little application, so to speak. And then once you hit submit, then they send you an email with like what you need to do. And then once, I forgot exactly what was on that one, but then they're like, okay, thanks. Your site should be fully migrated within 24 hours. I don't even think it was 24 hours. Like by the next morning, I already had the email and everything was done at that point. So,
yeah. And then do you just cancel your other plan with your other host? You just like cancel that?
So I didn't, I don't know why I didn't. I probably should, I could get some money back. But yeah, so you would just go to Bluehost and cancel the remaining hosting. Like I said, I still keep my domains with SiteGround, so I still have that section that I pay for, but I'm no longer hosting anything. And they should give you a prorated refund. Like you got with Bluehost, you got to tell them. They won't offer it up willingly. That's what happened to me. I still had like 6 months left on. They're like, oh, you won't get a refund because it's been over the 30 days. I'm like, no, I don't want a 100% refund. I want the, and they're like, oh, and they gave it, but they're really notorious about that. So you should get a prorated refund for whatever's remaining, however many months remaining on your subscription.
And it's almost over anyway, so it's probably not very much.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna either renew automatically or I need to cancel.
Yeah. Make sure, I mean, I would go in and make sure the settings take off the auto renew. Well, I mean, if you're going to change it, but if you did a setup, make sure you immediately go in there and turn that off, because they'll still charge you again. And
yeah.
Like take forever to get your money back. Bluehost is really bad about doing shady stuff like that.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I really didn't have many problems with them, but I think it's just time to upgrade.
Yeah, no, I'm loving Big Scoots. I'm actually right now, I'm changing my theme for Kingdom Bloggers. I love the refined theme. I love it, but I'm going to try, because of how much traffic I get, I'm trying to go with a lighter theme now. So I'm trying an Astra builder. And so I'm using they give you, it's free, a staging site. So I'm in the process of redesigning my whole site in the staging area, trying to get that done by the weekend so that I can get it all switched over. And I tried doing it in SiteGround and it was a little confusing. This one, it's super easy to use the staging grounds. So,
and what is the staging ground? Is that through Big Scoots or is that something else?
It's through Big Scoots. Yeah, Bluehost probably has it too. It's basically where it's a complete duplicate of your site, but it's called like bloggersforthekingdom.com. It's called dash staging or something. It's like your domain with an extra thing. So it's a duplicate of your site, and you can go in there and like put a new theme, get reorganized, and it doesn't interrupt. And then when everything is perfect, you go live and it automatically overwrites what's your current site. And so there's not like a hiccup or people log in, they're like, what's wrong with this page? Because you put the wrong widget or something. Yeah. And so when you're changing major theme changes, not just like from one refine to another or something, which is good because I'm using a builder, which Astra is kind of a builder. So I've never used it before and it's taking me a little while to figure out how to make things look the way I want it. And so, yeah, it's, like I said, it's everything about Big Scoots has been really great. I mean, yes, it's a little more expensive, but when you're at that level of traffic, it's totally worth it. So.
Okay. All right. This is really helpful. I'm going to go ahead and do it now since I
just do it.
I need to do it or else Bluehost is going to charge me again. And I don't want that.
And you should have a noticeable improvement on your site speed. Even I have Nitro Pack, and even with Nitro Pack, I was in the mid to low 90s. But once I moved over to Big Scoot, it stays at like 98%. So it was a noticeable difference. Again, the more traffic you get, that's more weight on your site. So it's not the server, except Bluehost, it is the server. But even with SiteGround, it was a noticeable improvement for such a heavy traffic site. So it's kind of like with your internet, if you're with one company and it's only 4G and you move to another company and it's 5G, your internet suddenly works faster, even though everyone in the house is on it at once. It's kind of like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Mike says, I get this mentality, everything is free stuff, and I feel like I am taken for granted and my group has gotten kind of spoiled. What should I do? Should I rebrand with something scene that is more SEO friendly and emotionally geared better? It's a free encouragement blog. So Mike, with you, so I know mostly what yours is through your Facebook group. And I think, group engagement, like engagement in a group, Facebook group, is a lot different than the engagement you would get from an email list. And in groups, yes, they can get spoiled. Why would they ever buy anything? Why would they ever do anything if they know they can just get it for you for free? So dealing with an audience in a group, a Facebook group, for example, is a lot different than how you would engage with them as an email subscriber. I would say, I think you joined Jessie's group. She is really good about helping figure out your sweet spot for building engagement in groups. And it can be tricky, especially when you're dealing with like Bible content, how to get them to engage, like simply just sharing a post, a blog post, go check out this post for encouragement kind of thing, isn't always like, people aren't always wanting to read. And that's where getting creative with, like I was mentioning, like the trivia questions, the fun jokes, the things that really spark people to, like, where you literally ask them a question or you literally pose something to them. But you have to find like the sweet spot of the people in your group, because the people in one group are different from the people in another group, right? You ever, like in a meeting at work, and this, you have your little niches at work, your groups, and everyone knows this one group is really, they're really, I guess boring, maybe is the word. Like they're just kind of, and then this other group, if they show up, like, we're going to have to keep them quiet because they're always really loud and obnoxious, right? So the people in a group aren't always the same. And so finding how to get that particular group to respond back to you, I'm not going to lie, that's the part that's going to take the most work for you. And it's really a matter of trying different things and then keeping track of the things that actually resulted. Because there's no do it this way works for everybody. Like every single group that you offer, even if it's the same type of group, the people that make up the group are different. And so figuring out what your people are, meaning like what gets them to talk. Put me in a group, say something about gardening, and I'm not going to shut up. But right. And so, all you got to do, get Leanne to talk about squirrels and garden stuff, right? And she will just go on and on and on. So you got to find the thing that makes them talk. And so if you have a blog, how you deal with a blog is completely different. Like what you do on Facebook is in no way related to how you do a blog. They are completely different platforms. And so figuring out one of them and how to make that one work for you before jumping over to another one is definitely recommended, because when you're trying to build two different platforms at once, build a blog, build an email list, build a Facebook group, whatever, you're like in 5 different countries trying to do the same thing. And it doesn't work because each country has its own customs and traditions, and you got to figure out what the people in that particular place are wanting from you and how they're wanting it, because it's not going to be the same as it is on another platform. I know that wasn't an answer, but that's the best one you're going to get from me. That's one of those non-answer answers. Groups are my group, like my Facebook group, the one you guys are all in. It's very active, engaged, but people come there for a reason. The reason is to learn about blogging. But I don't just say, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. I make it fun. We do these things on Friday. People ask questions. Sometimes I'll share videos. Like I do different things, and I see what kind of questions I ask that got crickets, and I see how I word questions that people actually respond back to. And I would take notes of that and then do more of that than the other. And this group's been like 3 years in the making. And I think I'm finally to a sweet spot to where our group is very active. Even though I give a lot of free stuff. So I would just say, keep at it, and you'll eventually find that sweet spot. All right, let me close this other window. All right, anything else? This was good conversation today. Trying to think. So next week will be at 12. Supposed to go fishing next week on Thursday, offshore fishing. I'm super excited. Tried to do it a year ago, but the weather didn't cooperate and it was too windy, so I got canceled. And there's some disturbance in the Gulf, apparently heading to Louisiana. Sorry, Joyce, I hope you're safe from that storm. But hopefully that won't impact our water here so that I can actually go on this fishing trip. So
That sounds like fun.
fun.
Mhm.
Well, I guess that's all I have for today. I will get this video uploaded hopefully by this afternoon. It takes a bit for it to process. Joyce, you can stay on and we can try to figure out your Google Analytics thing
Okay.
if you want. But yeah, that's all I have, everyone. I hope
Thank
everyone
you.
has a great weekend. And Kristen, get with me next week sometime or whenever you want
You want me to just message you on
Yeah, just message me on Facebook and let me know what day works. Wednesdays and Thursdays are not good because that's when I have classes. So pretty much anytime Mondays and Tuesdays, we can jump on a Zoom call real quick and do the Convertkit thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay,
problem.
I'll be in touch.
All right. I'll
Thank
see you later. Bye. All right. I'm going to close out.
You know, I love these classes.
I know, it's always so much fun.
Yes, I just love the people and it's just wonderful.
All right, let me turn on sharing. All right, so I need you to open up your WordPress dashboard, your Google Search Console, and Google Analytics, all in 3 tabs, and then share your screen. I'm going to run to the restroom really quick while you're doing that. Actually, let me turn the record button.